Hey, folks, this is Hutch on Hunting, your host, Bruce Hutchin, and I got our treat today. You're just going to have a great old time because we're heading down to the northeast corner of Louisiana and the Arkansas down there with Johnny Wink from Megaducks, and he's been in business for over 50 years, and he's he's just a pro's pro in the duck hunting. He's an icon in the duck hunting industry. So, Johnny, welcome to the show. And why don't you give us a couple of calls there? I asked you to have some calls around your neck. So give us a hailing call and then give us a come on back call.
All right, let's get fired up here. Call I'm blowing uh, uh, is a very unique call. I used to blow Phil's call, the duck commander call all the time, and he always told me, he said, Wink, he said, one day, he said, you're going to find a call that's going to fit you. That's going to fit you just right. And he says, first of all, you start blowing where you can make a sound. Then you want to start blowing as loud as you can, get veins poking out it, man. But you almost can put a pin in you and pop and all that. And then after you've done that for so many years, you start getting a finer call where you can still make a loud call, but not as much pressure and as hard to blow. And he said you might find my call, or you might find another call. Well, this is called a Shane Roten. He's out of Minden, Louisiana, but he don't make them anymore. So it's very difficult to find these calls. They're acrylic double reed. I always like to blow double reed. I want to sound like a duck. Anyway, there's a Shane Roten called, and every once in a while you look on these on the social media, you might can find one on duck calls or something, whatever, where they selling duck calls. But the man, I tell you, I was fortunate enough to get about 6 of these, and they're really expensive now. But anyway, let's see what it sounds like. Let me hit another one over here. And it's the same call. It might be just a little bit different, but let's see what this sounds like. Now, up here in North Louisiana and Louisiana, we're known for the speckle bellies. We love speckle belly hunt. We love hauling speckle bellies. We love shooting speckle bellies. We love working speckle bellies. And we just love everything. And eating speckle bellies. Very, very good. Now, let me tell you just a little bit of something. Long time ago, there's a man down in Gaydon, Louisiana, by the name of Mr. Mervis Saltzman. And Mr. Mervis, some of them call the king of speckle belly calling. And what he would do, he'd get a PSO, predator call, just like I got in my hand. And what he'd do, he'd take the guts out, throw them away. And a long time ago, you remember them black ace combs that we used to keep in our pocket and always there? Everybody, old Fonzie had the
Yeah.
black ace. Everybody had a comb. Well, he'd get that black comb and he'd file it down and he'd make a reed out of it. It's a hard rubber reed. I still got the same reed. This call's over 40 years old. I'm still blowing it in the same reed. Anyway, that's what makes this call so special. Anyway, I'm going to call with this, and most of the young people don't even know what that is, and they don't even know what that sounds like. And then I'm going to go to what we call a Riceland call. And I've got several Riceland calls, man down in South Louisiana by the name of Billy Daniels. And I've got several of these, and these are a lot louder. But let me show you what over 40 years ago how we was calling.
You got to get closer to your telephone. I can't
rifle.
hear you.
This is the old uh, it's called a Shin Kali, which is
I couldn't
called
hear her. I couldn't
scream.
hear her tone. I couldn't hear any tones.
You
I
do what
couldn't
now?
hear it. I couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear
No.
it. Anyway, okay, can you hear this one? Can you hear it?
A little bit.
Well, this is rattling. I'm in my kitchen. It's a rattling.
I don't know what's going on technology wise
Do
because
what now?
I can hear you talking just fine. I could hear those duck calls just fine.
Let's get back.
Can't hear you. Wink. Can't hear you.
Can you hear that?
Nope.
I guess I'm blowing too loud. Let me blow softer.
I can hear that. Nope. You got to blow softer. Yeah, it's something about your microphone doesn't want to pick it up.
It must be blowing too loud and it's kind of cutting down or something on there.
Yeah, your microphone just doesn't want to pick it up. That's okay.
Anyway, just on the phone. I don't know how that is. Must be blowing too loud.
So anyway, here we are. You've been at this game of duck goose hunting for over 50 years. How'd you ever get started?
Okay, let me tell you. And if I get to telling the story too long, now you gotta just
I'll cut you off. I'll cut you off.
Okay. Back many moons ago, I was about a freshman in high school. Again, I was always going duck hunting. And every Sunday morning, my daddy was in the same Sunday school class as the CEO of Central Bank. That was the biggest bank in Northeast Louisiana. Those banks all branches all over the place. Well, anyway, he asked my daddy, he goes, CL, he goes, you think your son want to take some of my customers duck hunting on the weekend? He said, well, I'll ask him. Well, I had a $400 fishing cart. I called it my fish cart because I had a fish sticker on it. Anyway, I was working after school at the West Monroe Rec Center. And for 40 hours, I would get $78. $78. Well, that first day, I took four men at $100 a pop. And then I would take them another four people on Sunday. So I'm making $800 in 2 days versus $78 for the whole week after school, or 40 hours. Anyway, I just, plus there was a back when we used to have newspapers that was worth anything, every Sunday there'd be a outdoor section. And during our hunting season, there was a place called Duck Guides Inc. Here in Monroe, Louisiana. And they were always taking these celebrities and movie stars and stuff and everything. And for a little young boy duck hunting that loved the duck hunting, to see these famous athletes and movie stars and all that, it was a big thrill. And I said, man, maybe one day I could be able to do that and everything. But here's the big deal. So I'm taking these people from the Central Bank, and I'm doing that on Saturdays and Sundays and some during the holidays. And anyway, back at that time, come on now, I'm making $2.80 an hour. I mean, golly, man, he give me $100 a piece. Woohoo! You know, that was before three-wheelers. There was no four-wheelers, no buggies. There was no three-wheelers. Don't even think about a four-wheeler. We walk. Nobody complained. We just hump it. Get out there across these rice fields and everything, but it was killing so many ducks, so nobody cared. So we was all fired up. But anyway, it was always hard. One, you shot so many shells that you didn't have to bring the shells back out. And then we had water and stuff like that to drink. We didn't have bottled water. We just had I had a glass jug. We carry that jug around, pass everybody drink water. But most of that would be gone. But I'd have to fill my croaker sack up full of ducks and haul them out. Anyway, that's what we did long time ago, many moons ago. And I was just super beyond fired up. But as we progressed, after getting out of high school, I finally was able to lease a duck blind. And that was unheard of. From making that kind of money, very, very little that I had back then, I paid $2,500 to lease a duck blind. And remember, some of those days back then, we were 30-day seasons or 45-day seasons. We didn't have the big long seasons like we do now. But and we had way more ducks there anyway. But anyway, it always got cold. Remember that. Cold here in Louisiana means you're killing ducks. If you go out there in January and it's 50-something degrees, you're probably not going to kill as many. If it's ice stuff, we used to say Arkansas is locked up. What does that mean? Well, when Arkansas locks up, those mallards are going to be pushing down. And the past few years, it hadn't been like that. We've had lukewarm winters. This past season was unbelievable. Guess what? It locked up. We was hunting over the ice. Fabulous. Was killing bands. You know, bands make you dance. Bands make you, and all that stuff. So we're getting fired up and everything. But just remember, forget about Ducks Unlimited, putting corn out. I still don't know what a heated pond is and all this other stuff. What the young people don't understand, a long time ago, it used to get cold every year. Cold. Ice. I ain't talking about ice one day. I'm talking about ice for a week. Now, again, we have ice eaters. And I don't know anybody in Louisiana that's got ice eaters. And the reason is because they're expensive. You got to have the ice eaters, the auxiliary tanks, the generators, the whole 9 yards. Got to fill them up. They got to run 12 and 24. And when I pulled my ice eaters out this year, they had dirt daubers on them. I mean, we hadn't used them in so long. So when you're using that, that's when you eat up with the mallards. Now, you heard what I said. Cold equals mallards. Okay. That doesn't mean the teal, the gadwall, the pintail, the Weegians, the spoons, all these other ducks. In January, it can be 60 degrees and we're still shooting ducks. But people say ducks as they referring to mallards. They should just say mallards and not ducks because we still got plenty of ducks. But they're saying mallards. So they say, oh, the ducks don't come down. It takes cold weather to get the mallard down. Mallard duck. Mallard. Not all these other ducks I just said. So we're still shooting. And but they're all that coming down. I'm sitting there holding up slaughter straps full of ducks. But another thing that we're able to do out of these things and where we're blessed where we're at is the speckled belly. Every day. We got just as many specks as we got ducks. Now, let me tell you another thing. Now, this is going to
Where do the specks come from?
Go ahead.
Do they come from Saskatchewan, or where do the speckled bellies come from?
The majority of what we call that Saskatchewan mallard, where there's more of them banded. In other words, the colder it is, the more it ice ups, the better chance you're going to have to get the mallards that are banded. Okay? But that doesn't mean about the pintails, gadwalls, Weegian spoons, all these other.
Yeah, but what about the speckled bellies?
Oh, the speckled bellies, yes, sir.
Where do they come from?
That go way up in Alaska. These speckled bellies are way. They about as far as you can get north as you can without going to Russia. I mean, these specks are way up there. But we're just very fortunate that where we're at and everything, that this is spec country. This is really spec country. The deal is, you say, well, what about the snow geese? Yeah, we got thousands and thousands of snow geese. But here's the deal. Unless you have bad weather or a lot of hard wind, bad wind gets these snow geese down. Snow geese are in these big giant colonies, and they're here, and they're there, and they're here, and they're there. And if you ain't in that here, then you ain't in them. Now, you get it cloudy, you get hard wind, then you're going to kill the snow geese out of these duck blinds and everything. But again, You got to be where they at. You got to be on the X for these snow geese. That's why it's so hard. Now, let me explain. Snow geese are in colonies. Speckled bellies are like ducks. They break off in small family groups, so they're scattered. The snow geese ain't like that scattered. Snow geese are in big numbers. That's how they say. The speckled bellies break out like ducks. But let me tell you why this area is so good. And look on the map. If you ever go to Memphis, Tennessee, and you go to the Bass Pro Shop to the pyramid, they've got a map up there of the rice growing places in the Mississippi Delta. Okay? Remember what I just said. Now let's go back. Mississippi Flyway. Okay. Where we're at, we're right on the state line. I have 2 blinds that where my water stops. The other side of it is Arkansas. But everything we hunt is in Louisiana. That way people come, they don't have to get Arkansas license and Louisiana license. We have everything in Louisiana. But let me tell you a little bit. At the Louisiana, this federal game warden told me this long time ago. At the Louisiana-Arkansas line, the Mississippi Flyway narrows down to a 1-mile stretch. 70% of the ducks and geese that come to Louisiana will pass through that 1-mile stretch. You go like, I don't believe it. Now, let's look. I'm going to explain. To the west of us, you got red clay and hills, pines all the way to Texas. Okay? Got red clay hills, pine trees to Texas. They ain't eating pine cones. To the east of us, you got sandy soil, 16 miles to the Mississippi River. Remember back in the day of the cotton plantations, all that. Okay, sandy soil. So what's up with that? Okay, you put water and you pour it in sandy soil, it's going to drain down into the ground, right? Okay.
Yes.
Right here at this 1-mile stretch on the Louisiana-Arkansas line, we have something called buckshot gumbo, heavy dirt. Okay? It's a clay base. You put water in it, water stands. What does that mean? You can grow rice. They're not eating pine cones. They're not eating cotton. They're eating rice. Now, let's look at the Mississippi Flyway map. It comes and it narrows. They call it the bottleneck. It gets down, gets real narrow. It goes down, then starts opening back up. Say, wow, I didn't think that. You remember that map of the rice growers in at Memphis? You put that right over the Mississippi Flyway, and it's identical. So what they're doing is they're just following the food. It's not that hard. It's not that simple. Do they want to fly over pine cone, or do they want to come over to eat the ribeye rice on the ground over there? So if you look at it, somebody tells you that, you say, well, golly, never knew that. Well, anyway, that's why we're so blessed, and the good Lord put us there back in the late.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You didn't have any choice. You were born and brought up right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And when people say, there's so many times that people will say, where's the Mississippi Flyway? And they say, it's right under the Megabucks Duck Lodge. That's why we're sitting here at this lodge. If we're sitting out there by the fire pits, we got our guns. We're shooting at geese flying over right out there to the pit, right? A lot of birds. I mean, people say, man, wouldn't you like to retire and go to have a condo at Orange Beach on the Gulf, or go to some place up in the mountains, a ski place? I go, I want to be right here where all the birds are flying. Thing about it, another thing that we used to say when we filmed Duckman 2 and Duckman 3 with Phil up here long many moons ago. Again, I had a beard down to here, hair down to there, all that. We was all woollied out and all that stuff. He'd always say, Wink, you have an ancestral hole. And that bird's been flying this way since the day of time. It's how they come. This is where they've been. This is where they at. And all of my blinds and all of the 3 farms that I have are all in a straight line. There's nothing to the east and to the west. It's all in a straight line. And for all these years that of me sitting there looking, I look to the west and I see a few lines. I look to the east and I see a few lines. But right here, I see line, V's. We call it, we love before the season when when the geese start coming, you start seeing the long lines of bees. The birds migrate. And another thing that we used to say, once they got past us, they go into a black hole, never to return till after the season when they're going back up to Canada to nest. Wrong. Now it's the satellite tracking devices and all the bands and all that stuff. One time they put 11 collars on these pintails, and 7 times they left the saltwater. Now you gotta understand, we're 6 hours away from the coast. We're right there on the line, up on the line on North Louisiana. Pintails is on the coast and get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and hit Jones at 2:30 in the afternoon. And every time they got here, we was having a major thunderstorm. And the biologists are saying, how did they know at the saltwater in the Gulf that we was having a major thunderstorm up here? But again, they're riding that south wind coming out of the Gulf and everything. So that's what they get up in that wind and they get here in a heartbeat. But so no more do we think every duck that goes past us is never to see again. These ducks go back and forth, following the weather, doing all this stuff, following the food, pressure, and everything. They got so many factors involved in it. But number one thing is cold weather. Cold weather. You got ice that's breaking up in Arkansas. When it locks up, that's when we start ripping. The mallards, not these other birds. I mean, people say, oh, y'all never get any duck first split. I go, well, how come we're holding up these slaughter straps? Ducks and geese. But, so people say the ducks ain't here. They're not saying the ducks. They're meaning mallards. And we'll shoot mallards opening day. We'll shoot mallards end of the day. But generally in January, when that cold gets here, that's when we just eat up with the mallards. And that's when everybody gets all fired up and everything. Anyway, so I know I have next, but half of these times I tell people in the blind all this stuff, and they look at me and they turn their head like an old dog when you talk to them. They turn and go, oh, what is he talking about? Well, anyway, we'll just go about it. Try to give you a little history.
Now, on an average day, an average shoot, when it's locked up in Arkansas, how many shells am I going to go through?
Okay. Who do I take, honey? Public. Now, let me tell you something. One of the reasons that I've been successful, again, this is going into our 50th duck season.
50th. For Megaduck, 50 years.
Megabucks Duck Guys. That's JohnnyWink.com. Anyway, over 40 years ago, people said, we don't want to hunt with strangers and we don't want to stay in the same lodge as strangers. They go to Arkansas and they're in a big lodge. They got all these people in there. Some people stay up. Some people go out to the bars, come back at 1 o'clock. Some people want to go to bed at 8 o'clock. You put all those people together, a lot of times people ain't going to be happy. Some want to sleep, some want to stay up. You can't tell a man he's got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. You can't, So I took that to heart. I got 2 separate lodges. One lodge has got 8 beds. One lodge has got 12 beds. I've got to have at least a minimum of 4 to book a hunt. You're going to get one of the lodges all to yourself. You want to go to bed? You go to bed. Want to stay up? You stay up. You want to howl at the moon? Oh, howl at the moon. You want to be quiet? You be quiet. It's what your group wants to do. Same thing in the duck blind. I have a lot of grandpas bringing their grandson, little Johnny. And those stories, ducks come in, they're hunting in Arkansas, and I got a whole bunch of guys in there. And the grandpa says, well, little Johnny, did you kill your duck? No, Grandpa. Every time I went up, the duck was already dead. Well, you can't tell the people down there from Alabama, hey, y'all can't shoot for the next hour. You're going to let little Johnny shoot. But when you book a hunt with me, I got to have at least a party of 4, but you get a 20-foot pit blind. You get a guide and his dog. And you know what? If you want to get on the levee and dance the polka, get on the levee and dance the polka or whatever you want to do. You want little Johnny to be the only one to shoot? Because it's your vacation. It ain't somebody else's. It's your vacation. That's how it should be. You got people want to jump up quicker. I take a lot of older gentlemen. Well, they can't jump up like a lot of these 20-year-olds. By the time they get up, the ducks are already dead or whatever. Now, if that's their son or their grandson jumping in front of them older guys don't mind. But they got people that they don't know, and they're shooting the ducks in front of them and all that stuff. Yeah, that's not happy. So it's the same thing. Not only in the blind, but in the lodge. It's your vacation. It ain't two boys from Alabama or wherever. You understand? So that's the big thing. People say we want a private hunt. We want a private hunt. But I get a lot of people get mad because they got onesies and twosies and want to come and book 7 days with me or whatever and all this stuff. And I can't do it. I do have a lot of daddies with 2 kids, and they pay for the 4th one just because they want to be together. You got to understand, I take a lot of small businesses out of Atlanta. A lot of people in this world. Now, another thing, 97% of the population of the United States does not hunt. Did you hear what I just said? 97% of the population does not hunt. How do I know that? Hunting license sale. Simple. I mean, how many people are going to be going hunting? Ain't. So in other words, if you got to understand, and then that 3% that do hunt, that's hunt everything from dove, deer, squirrel, rabbit, the whole 9 yards. So duck hunting is real little. Anyway, the thing that I'm saying is that a lot of these people that come, these businesses will bring some of their customers. These people, they might not, they didn't grow up hunting. They lived in a concrete jungle. They don't know much about being outdoors and all this. So again, not only we got to be able to call the ducks, we got to be able to look for the ducks, but I got one eye looking in the blind and making sure the people are safe. You got to be safe. Safety's on. Everything's got to be safe. Can't shoot over people's head. You know, a lot of people don't respect guns. And, you know, I got people that whisper, they go, "Hey, Johnny, will you load my gun? I don't know how to load it." So when I get these kind of people, you know, we got to work double time just to make sure that everybody's safe. But the thing is, you got to be able to do it when you're not embarrassing somebody. You know, I don't embarrass somebody because they don't know how to load a gun. I mean, that guy might be a computer genius. I don't know how to do hardly anything on the computer. So I understand. That's my job. You know, the little kids, that's the ones that really scare me now because they got these little bitty shotguns. These little bitty shotguns are youth guns. And their daddy's 6'2", and the little boy is 4 foot something, and he goes to swing his single barrel gun. I got to make sure he ain't going to blow his daddy's head off, you know. But that's the reason that we do the private hunt. So the guides, we do so much. What I try to do is I try to see something before it happens because I've seen it so many times, from laying the gun down to putting them to going up to do whatever. I mean, I got people when we get out of these pits, I go, "Okay, y'all ready? Here we go. And I throw them trap doors, and they go up to shoot, and they'll shoot 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. And then they'll aim at the duck. And they'll tell me.
Oh, no.
They go, "No." I said, "Yeah, you did. You shot 3 times just straight up in the air." You know, I also have some times where the ducks are 40 feet up in the air, and I throw the traps, and they start shooting in the water in my decoys. "Hey, what are you doing? The duck's up in the air." "Oh, yeah." Again, they're public. It's public. I'm taking public hunting. Remember that. You know, so not everybody is a veteran outdoorsman and all that, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So we try our best to take these people, to show them the right way to do it and the safe way to do it. That's the number one thing. And nobody's ever gotten hurt in the blind in all these years. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
You know, but anyway, again, we have fun, and we take, you know, I take a lot of women. You know, we got, you know, a lot of women love to hunt and everything. But anyway, it's very easy getting to these blinds. We drive the ATVs right up to it. So all you're doing is taking a couple steps. All you got to have your blind bag and your gun. You get in there, and we got these big 20-foot pits. We got plenty of room to store stuff. We got lights in it and everything. I've got a series of switches over on the side of the wall where I got the Mojo switches, pumps, lights, the whole 9 yards. I can do that all at one spot, and I ain't got to go down the blind get on over there and all that. And all our blinds are alike and everything. But you got to be safe first. And then we're going to enjoy ourselves. Now, when we talking, you said, how many shells I need to bring? Okay. If you ever see Cy Robinson, you ask him one question. Hey, do you know Johnny Wink? He's going to tell you, Johnny Wink, yes, sir. It ain't about how many ducks you kill. It's how many boxes of shells you shoot. Hey, bring your photo out every year. At him. You remember the little 110 cameras? Well, I used to take 10 cameras, get all these pictures of the whole hunt of the whole year and everything. And I have them in an album. He'll say, come bring them down. And I'd open them up. And he'd go, okay, I mean, how many mountains you kill out of this blind? How many pintails you kill out of here? How many this? I go, Phil, cut. I said, you're here with your brother, your sons. Y'all killing 5, 6 ducks in a volley. Big old group of ducks come in. I said, the majority of the time, I'll have 100 teal come in. I'm hoping somebody breaks the wing and falls 100 yards out. So don't think that you cannot go by how many ducks we kill. It's how many boxes of shells you shoot. But I'm saying, who do I take? Public. And somebody say, can you load my gun? You know, I'm sitting here watching and doing. I got to watch everybody. You know, it's kind of sad to say, but sometimes I got to treat full-grown men as little children, and the reason is they'd have to treat me that way if they were trying to show me something on the computer.
Because they don't know, Johnny.
Do what?
They don't know. They haven't been experienced to it.
That's right. So we're here to try to give them the best experience, to show them and everything. You know, people pay a lot of money just to go mud ride. You know, they love to get on the ATVs and ride in the mud and do all that stuff. Hey, we give you that to you for free. You know, hey, going in and going out, you know, it's a big thing, you know. And if they want to drive, sometimes let them drive, and they got there playing in the mud, doing all that stuff and everything. So it's more than just the hunt. And then you come back here, you putting something on the grills out there, you sit down by the fire pit, you know. And again, if the wind's blowing like this, a lot of times these geese coming right over our trees, we'll shoot the geese right here on our fire pits and all that stuff and everything. But it's more than just going hunting or how many you kill. You got to come back and enjoy staying the night. Again, we got one farm that we leave with ATVs from here, and then 2 farms we drive about 10, 15 minutes, and we drive with trailers and load up all the ATVs that way. But again, very fortunate on how many geese to go along with our ducks. To say, well, how do you goose hunt? Same thing way we duck hunt. I mean, you duck hunt you goose hunt out of the same blind. That's right. But now we also got all the panel blinds, the tangle-free panel blind, with we used to call the silhouettes. The young people now call them skinnies. How many skinnies you gonna put out? Anyway, silhouette decoys and the panel blinds and everything. Get in there, but that's a lot of work, and it sure is a lot easier when you can go to those pits. But if they're not there, if the geese are not right there and these people are really running, then we'll put on a panel blind hunt and everything. Go out there. In other words, we got 3 farms, and you say, well, how many acres is that? Well, we might have on each farm, say, 2 80-acre fields flooded, either corn or rice. The whole farm might be 2,000 acres, 2,500 acres. So not only are we hunting that we can hunt in that pit blind, but we have all the dry fields that go along with it. You got to understand, we got 3 farms, so you know we're pushing about 8,000 acres that nobody can get on there except for us. Again, the good Lord has blessed me to what I have. You know, they say I'm a dinosaur. Yeah. I've been hanging on to one of my farms since 1974.
Good for you.
Again, I'm a duck guide. I have to advertise. People say there's more people know the Tucker blind than anything. And more corporations have tried to get that blind. Like if you ever watch Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful said, they're going to squash you like the cockroach you are. Well, again, I'm paying the pretty high dollar for my lease, the average cost around here. But these businesses come in there, they throw around. Well, I saved the man who owns it. I saved his daddy's life. That's a long story. We won't get into that. My other farm north of us, the owner was my brother's best man in his wedding. So we're very fortunate. The good Lord has blessed us that even if somebody offers more, as you know, for 49 years, they haven't took it. They kept doing me. They kept leasing to me, and so anyway, I'm just good to go. But again, trying to find another thing. Like I said before, the little 300-acre farms, there ain't no more. They're gone. They done sold out. It's the big giant people. It's the corporations. You know what the big corporations don't want to do? Lease any hunting out. All hunting's gone. They'll go, and first thing they do, they go in all the fields, start picking all the blinds up and pile them up and throw them away. They don't want hunting. They don't want to mess with hunting. They don't want to mess with that. They don't want to have somebody call them. My blind's leaking up. I need more water. Turn the pumps on. Somebody drove across my field. They don't want to hear none of that mess. The cost of the duck hunting is this much, and farming is this much. So you got to be very, very lucky just to be able to have a lease up here. And if they tell you to get over there and stand on your head, you better get over there and stand on your head to eat it on that silver platter. If you don't, gone, boy. So the best thing to do with a landowner is say, hello, how you doing? I got my check. Where can I give it to you? You get it to him. I said, I'll see you next year. If you got a problem with that field, your pipe's rusting out, your blind's messing up, something is wrong with the levees, you know what? You go fix it and pay for it. Don't call that man. He don't want to hear it. Don't call that man. Go fix it. I put in pipes. I've done levee work. I've done all this stuff. Again, I'm paying extra to do that because I want to be able to continue getting it. And I ain't calling that guy, that landowner, about a problem. If it is, I know how to do it. I'll fix it. Or I'll pay somebody to come fix it, and I'll make sure they do it right. Anyway, that's a long story and everything. But the good Lord has blessed me, that I could do it. But, I never thought that being a duck guide, that, like when you retire, you get some kind of gold watch or something. My brother was the head of Metro Atlanta Boys and Girls Club for 30-something years. And he was the JC organization Man of the Year. He got to leave Meridian, Mississippi, fly to Pensacola, from Pensacola, land on an aircraft carrier, spend the day on the aircraft carrier, fly back off the aircraft carrier, land on Pensacola, and fly back to Meridian. Now, that's a big whoop-de-doo for a civilian to be able to get to do that. So he got this big whoop-de-doo. Now, his wife, she was in the state of Georgia, she was the #1 teacher of the year. And the governor gave my brother's wife, and they were both on the 50-yard line at a Atlanta Falcons game. So my brother's wife gets this big award. When she retired, my brother gets this big award. He retired. What does old John do? John didn't finish college. John just duck hunted. Well, in 2019, I got a letter in the mail from Nashville. And I went, what? What's up with that? Well, I saw it and read it, and I threw it in the trash. 2 weeks later, I got another mail from Nashville, and I threw it in the trash. Finally, I got a telephone call. Guy called me and said, you've been getting a letter from us and everything? I said, well, what? Yeah, how much is this going to cost? He said, no, sir, it ain't going to cost you nothing. So in 2019, I got inducted into the Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame, the Louisiana chapter. And there's only 2 of us has ever been inducted. And people get a Super Bowl ring. Well, look what I got. I got basically a Super Bowl ring, but it's the Legends of the Outdoors. Got my name and the insignia on it, and the Hall of Fame on it and everything. And I'm going to tell you, it's not riding a jet on an aircraft carrier. It's not getting a dozen roses from the governor. But you know what? I actually took the governor before. Anyway, I had the Louisiana governor hunt with me. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, Look, in the state of Louisiana, now, a lot of times our priorities might not be right. You say, well, what are you talking about? Well, you might see a $70,000 house with a $100,000 bass boat. You might see a $70,000 or $60,000 house with a $35,000 crew cab Polaris. So the deal is, people in Louisiana love the outdoors. We love our boats. We love our hunting equipment. And we try to get the best we can. We might not can afford it, but somehow we're going to scratch our pennies to get it. Well, duck guiding is not a place to get rich. You got to understand another thing that Phil always said, how you're a dinosaur. So you know what I do the day after duck season's over with? What do you do? I try to start getting people to book for next year. You go, well, what other job you had? Back long time ago, I had to have these little jobs. Social media wasn't existing. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have all this stuff. We didn't have phones like that. I had to go get on the phone, talk on the phone. Had to stay close to the phone, you know, the old rotary, all that mess and everything. Anyway, it was very difficult. And what we do, the only way we could advertise is you had to advertise, buy an ad out of Ducks Unlimited or some other little hunting magazine or something. But anyway, so it was hard to get in touch with people, to let them know who you are and where you at and what you had. So I had jobs where I fed the alligators. One of my best friends got the fourth largest alligator farm in West Monroe called Donald Farm. And for 2 years, I fed the gators every year. And then I finally got to get up in the job. And what I would do is I'd go and pick up all the dead chickens at all the chicken houses in a 30-mile radius of North Louisiana. And then when I'd get all these dead chickens, every morning they'd go through the chicken houses, pick up all the dead ones, and they'd put them out in a deep freeze, and I'd go and pick them all up. Then I would come back about noon, and then I'd put all these whole chickens in these grinders and go, whoop, and they'd go out, look like spaghetti, into a big mixer. And then I'd put dry gator food in there. And then after I get a big load, then I'd dump it into a wheelbarrow. And I'd do about 20, 30 wheelbarrows every day of doing that. But anyway, I worked at car washes. I worked at a Ford dealership one time, doing little things like that just to survive. So what I'm saying is, if I would have got married young, I couldn't have done this, because if I had kids and everything, I'd had to go to some factory and work at a factory and work graveyard and overtime and all that stuff and just work myself silly. But I, with the good Lord's help, survived. I survived those early years. Now, and it's hard for me because I was growed up that if your hands aren't dirty, your back ain't hurting, you didn't put in a good day. Now, I can start posting on social media, and all I got to do is book a few hunts, and that's more money than I would make if I worked the whole summer on minimum wage. You say, what? Yeah. You know, me and my wife like to go on cruises. Oh, this is a good story. You're going to love this. And this is, anyway, I can't hear. So my wife, during, the cruises, they have these comedians come on. And so my wife goes in there and she sits me in the front row. So I sit in the front row because I'm hard of hearing and everything. And okay, here comes the comedian. He comes out, everybody applauds and all this stuff. He starts telling jokes. Well, he starts looking at me. And I can tell he's starting to stare at me and everything. So I start looking away. He goes, hey, mister, what is your name? Now, this is the second night of the cruise on a 10-day cruise. And I hear him, not because he's saying it pretty loud. He goes, hey, what is your name? And my wife goes, hey, Johnny's talking to you. He goes, he wants to know what your name is. I go, do what now? He goes, what's your name? I go, my name is JohnnyWink.com. And he looks at me and says, what is your name? JohnnyWink.com. And he drops his mic. And he goes, did your mama hate you? I said, no, she loved me very much. She goes, well, what's this JohnnyWink.com? My wife goes, that's his business. He goes, well, what is your business? That I take people on hunts, duck and goose hunts and deer hunts. And he goes, you take, so you're a hunting guide. Yes, sir. Anyway, he goes, well, I know the hunting season is only 60 days or so. What do you do after that? I said, I go on cruises, and my wife sits me in the front row, and the comedian asks me my name, and I tell him, Johnny, 800 people in here, turn around and look, 7 people's on the phone right now looking up JohnnyWink.com. So that trip, a minimum of 4 people. My wife is getting lodge in the spa, and there's 2 beds, and there's a woman over to the next of it doing that. And she over there, and she looks at my wife and goes, oh, you married to JohnnyWink.com. Well, we went to Belize. That's a country down in the Caribbean. And my wife, she wants to go on a jungle tour. That's the only time I let her drive one of these buggies, one of these Polarises. I won't let her drive up here. She's too bad at driving. So anyway, she's driving. Well, we're the second group to go in. So we're going in slowly. Here comes the other group coming in. Well, anyway, here's 2 guys, 2 groups of guys. They go, hey, there's JohnnyWink.com. There's JohnnyWink.com. So what I'm saying is, this is a 365-day deal out of a year, every year. I mean, it's a simple. And I've got probably 85% repeats, and most of them come multiple trips. And the reason is because they're the only ones that's going to be in the blind, and they're the only ones that's going to be in the lodge. So they know how to go. They know what to do. It's not other people that no strangers they're going to have to interact with. So very fortunate to do that. But long time ago, before all this other stuff, the social media and stuff, back when I wasn't booked up the whole season, then I had to do these other little small jobs just to make ends meet till hunting season.
Tell me about your whitetail hunting, your deer hunting.
Yes, sir. Okay. You know, it's sad that I try to put so much stuff on my website. I'd say 90% of the people that come here never look at my website. Never look at it. Yeah. So they don't know what we offer and what we don't offer. On my second page, I got rates. And it's got duck hunt, $400. Early goose season. We have a 2-week goose season for duck season. Early goose season, we only charge $300. Then it's got afternoon deer hunts, $200. Okay, what does afternoon deer hunt say? That means you're going hunting in the afternoon. If anything else, okay, I don't let people just come and book deer hunt. What they do is we got to go duck hunting in the morning. They're paying $400. We limit out, or we go to 11 o'clock and we come in. They have an option. They want to pay $200 more, I can put them in a nice box stand. If it's brown, it's down. I got a lot of grandpas with their little daughter or their granddaughter or whatever, or kill them a doe or whatever, and they're more welcome to do that. That's something to do. But we also have something in the afternoon called an unguided pass shoot goose hunt. What is that? Is if people told me over 40 years ago, man, there's so many geese out here. We should have some place we could go and just sit in a ditch and maybe wait and have a goose fly over. So I took that to heart, and I found some places that I leave to let people do that. I don't charge for that. But you don't read my website, all you heard was, oh, we're going goose hunting in the afternoon. Nope. Going on a unguided, we ain't going to be there, pass shoot. Pass shoot means you're not in a blind, you don't have decoys, you don't have collars, you don't have guides, you don't have ATVs, you don't have none of that. It's free. Or you can sit right here and watch LSU beat Alabama, on football. But anyway, our deer hunting this past year, again, the colder it gets, the earlier these deer will come to our feeders and our food plots and everything. So we got to do real good on our deer hunts this year. Again, I got a lot of people, I've got way more lean-up stands that we bow hunt in and stuff than I do box stands. And anyway, I done found out that nobody wants to hunt a lean-up. So, I mean, and nothing wrong, man. They're 16 feet up in the air. The Millenniums, double-sided, good and heavy, nice, comfortable blinds. But again, a lot of these people are older people, and it's cold, and they all just want to get in a box stand. And I go, sir, I said, we've been hunting this box stand now, but I got all kind of deer coming past this lean up stand. Box stand. There you go. Put them in a box stand. But anyway, so we try. I got people want to come bow hunt. We got people that want to do nothing but rifle. We got 3 pipelines that run through this section of land that I lease to deer hunt, and you can see a lot of critters going across that in the afternoon. But again, every deer hunt, while you're sitting there, and especially as it gets closer to dark, the geese start moving. So you're sitting in a nice deer stand, and some of them are elevated, some of them are just a little bit off the ground. And but anyway, the geese are steady flying back over the roost and everything. So hearing the geese and being out there and seeing the critters go, we got a lot of bobcats, coyotes. Again, they can shoot whatever they want, but they're going to shoot one deer. They can shoot a doe or a buck, and shoot a doe and a buck. They shoot one deer, but it's their choice of what they want. But anyway, long time ago, my people said, all these deer tracks we got going in the blind, man, we ought to have a place where we can deer hunt. We pay a little bit to go deer hunting. So anyway, I took that to heart and found some woods. You got to understand, up here with woods, there's not much. There's not much woods here. And if there's woods, it's a swamp. And that's the reason that they hadn't leveled it down to try to make some more rice fields out of it, because it's too swampy. But that's where those swamp bucks are. And again, we killed this past year. We killed some really, really nice bucks. The people were super happy. And listen to me, that's $200. $200 to come up here. I mean, well, come on, man. Now, again, everybody ain't gonna kill one of them big giant ones. They're not. But that's hunting. I have these people. Some of these people from Atlanta go in there, talking on the phone, doing all this stuff, and they go, "I didn't see any deer. I didn't see any deer." Well, I can't help that. But there's so many options at that, especially on the days that it's real warm. Those I keep telling those people, stay in the stand before I pick you up, because these deer want to hit these feeders right at dark. You can barely see. That's when they start coming out. A lot of these people, they're walking out 20 minutes before dark and go, "What are you doing, man? It's fixing to be prime time." "I didn't see a deer." I go, well, I can't hold their hand when I got multiple people out there. Can't hold everybody's hand. But anyway, just try to tell them and everything. And but we have fun here, and we try to do our best we can. And again, we're personal. You got to understand, there's a lot of people tell me this. They say, when I'm talking to them on the phone, and they go, "Okay, you're the owner?" "Yes, sir." "Where are you at during hunting season?"
Hi, Mrs. Wink.
I live on premises.
Let your wife say hello.
I've just got here. That's Miss Tammy. So we all fired up and everything.
Come on, we're all fired up here.
Yes, sir. She's always fired up. But anyway, we just try to do our best and everything. And there's days where it's not we're not just tearing them up, and there's days where everybody kills deer. There's days when nobody sees deer. There's days where we kill little ducks. There's little days where we kill a lot of ducks. It's just hunting. And you got to understand that we're not in a enclosed place and everything. So it's hunting, and we try our best. I got some people, "We didn't limit. Do we get our money back?" I said, "Sir," I said, "you bought a hunt. That's what you did. You bought a hunt. Did you get the hunt?" "Yeah." Anyway, we wouldn't be doing this long if we didn't kill a lot of birds. Again, don't forget them people from Atlanta go, "How do you load my guns?" And when they buzzing the decoys, and we're lucky to get one wing and fall out there 100 yards. So, that don't think about making a pile when you you couldn't kill a limit with 6 boxes of shells.
So, Mr. Johnny Wink, he's an icon. He's just a man's man. He's been there, done that. He's talked about Phil Robinson. If you know anything about Phil and the Robinsons, just great people. And Johnny Wink is one of those characters, and he's been called a dinosaur, but I don't think he's a dinosaur. He's what's great about this country, and great about a man that just stayed at home, Jones Jones, Louisiana, and just made a life for himself.
Here, there's a picture of me and Phil when we was filming.
Look at that. Look at that bearded wonder.
And we ain't got no gray yet.
No gray at all.
I can't even get a haircut. And trust me, back then, being woolly like that, that wasn't popular. They thought you was some kind of derelict or something.
You're a hippie. You guys were hippies.
Go on a website when we were.
So, hey, Johnny Wink. Now, if somebody wants to go hunting with you, what do they got to do?
Go to johnnywink.com. My telephone number is all over the place. And again, if you want to talk, I'll talk with you. Again, you need the person that calls me. I call that the contact person. He might be bringing 6 or 8 people or 4 or 5 or whatever. And then he's got to relay what I'm saying to the rest of the people. Long time ago, people say, we don't want to charge, we don't want to spend so much money, so we want to cut out the food. We want to cook ourselves. So we drop the price to accommodate the people. So we don't do the cooking. Each lodge is equipped with full kitchens, the whole 9 yards, everything they got here, all the beds, linens, everything. All you got to do is bring your hunting clothes and your guns and stuff and everything. And we got everything else. But we don't do the cooking. And let me tell you another thing. Here in Louisiana, we eat a lot of spicy food. And we just assume everybody else does. Well, we had a group from Ohio one time come, and I had a lady come cook a bunch of gumbo and everything. And next morning, I get up, everybody's in the bathroom. They're all stomachs all tore up and too much spices and everything. They couldn't even hunt the next day. So they use salt and pepper. We use everything. So the best thing to do is, hey, don't charge as much. Let them do the cooking, or you can go 20 minutes in the Bastrop, Louisiana, and go to a cafe, a restaurant. And another thing, in Bastrop, even though we're in a poverty-stricken place, we've got one of the biggest sporting goods stores in the Southeast. It'll rival a Bass Pro or Cabela's. It's called Simmons Sporting Goods. Jeff Simmons is a big duck hunter, and there is pallet loads of shotgun shells.
Good. I need to buy, when I come down there, I got to buy some shotgun shells.
Yeah. If there's something, that's a lot of my people that fly in to Monroe. Monroe's the home base of Delta Airlines. And they fly in there, they rent a car, and halfway up, they stop at Simmons and Bastrop and buy all their stuff and license and all that. Then they come up here to me. But that is a place where a lot of our tip money gets spent at Simmons. But if there's something about duck hunting that you want to put your hands on and actually see, if you've seen it in a magazine or online somewhere, you can actually see it at this place. So it's only 20 minutes away, and most people, there's restaurants right by it, so they go over there and spend a good afternoon looking at all that and everything and talking to everybody in that area. That's a lot of the people that are hunting in different other guide services and stuff there. And if you walk in there with a Georgia Bulldog cap on and you're around the shotgun shells, you will be getting talked to about that.
Hey, Pup.
This is a hunt terrier. This is a hunt terrier. And what he does, again, who do I take hunting? The public. And all I got to do is drop him off right where they shot a deer.
And he'll find him.
Hey, good, this dog is going to be on top of that deer real quick. So if I can find just drop a bud where they shot, all I got to do is drop old Jake off, and he's on top of that. He's on top of that deer in no time.
Johnny, we got to wrap this show up. So it's just been my esteemed pleasure to talk to the famous and infamous Johnny Wink from johnnywink.com.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Johnny.
Phil always told me, he said, Wink, if you ever look, you see Duck Commander, you see his autograph, Phil Robinson. Duck Commander, Phil Robinson. Duck Commander, Phil Robinson. So, and you see Megabuck Duck Guides, JohnnyWink.com. Megabuck Duck Guides, JohnnyWink.com. So I try to get my name is known as much as my business name. But
There
I
you go.
thank you much for letting me come on the show. It was nice talking with you. I hope maybe one day we get to hunt together. It'd be a hoot. And I thank the good Lord for letting me be able to do this for this long.
He
And
blesses us. Doesn't he bless us?
sir,
He blesses us.
yes, sir. And we'll get fired up, baby. We'll get fired.